Xbox is run by a bunch of retards, guys. And not retards, retards. That's how stupid this whole thing is. They're literally raising their prices of all Xbox consoles yet again in the United States due to changes in the macroeconomic environment. In other words, Orange Man bad, tariffs, ooga booga, I'm dumb. So the Series S is going to go from 379 to 400. The Series X is going to go from 599 to 650. The Series X digital will go from 549 to 600, and the 2 terabyte Series X is going from 729 to 800. What in the world is Xbox thinking here, guys? They are making a grave mistake here. They're cooked. There's absolutely no point to own an Xbox at this point, especially for these price points. I'm glad I got my Series X at launch 5 years ago. Yeah, guys, 5 years ago, this console came out, and for some reason, the price of it is going up. Make that make sense. Aren't consoles supposed to get cheaper? Yikes. I caramba. Hakuna Matata. I have no clue what I'm saying, but let's talk about this today because yikes, yikes, yikes. The Xbox brand is in full meltdown mode, and Microsoft just proved that they've learned absolutely nothing from this disastrous Xbox Series X generation. Forget power your dreams. At this point, Xbox is just pricing themselves out of existence. And the worst part, it's the loyal fans who are being punished. If you thought $70 games were bad, wait until you hear the latest news. Wait until you hear how Microsoft is now charging more for a 5-year-old console than when it launched. How is that even possible? Aren't consoles supposed to get cheaper the older they get? No, no, you heard right. Xbox has somehow made the weakest console lineup in modern history even less appealing. And today I'm going to break down why this move might be the final nail in the coffin for Xbox hardware. Let's be honest, guys, this generation has been brutal for Microsoft. The Series X was hyped as a monster console with 12 teraflops of raw power, but 5 years later, that power has gone to waste. Sony's dominated exclusives, and even then, they have been fumbling. They haven't even put out anything, and somehow they're still dominating. Nintendo ate up family console gaming in the hybrid handheld portable market, and PC already gives you access to Game Pass. So, Xbox owners, you basically paid for a watered down version of Microsoft's own Game Pass ecosystem when a PC could do it better. And instead of fixing that, instead of somehow making it right, putting games out, making it worth your while for owning the console, Phil Spencer gets paraded onto podcasts to do the I let you down routine for the gajillionth time. That's all he does is damage control. Meanwhile, the actual console experience keeps getting worse somehow. And again, the breaking news is absolutely absurd. Microsoft is raising the price of every single Xbox system in the United States starting October 3rd. So you still have time to not buy a super overpriced console. Remember, they just raised the prices not too long ago, and now they're doing it again. But the Series S, the basic Series S, digital only, 512 gigabytes, is jumping from 379 bucks to 400. Yikes. The Series S, the 1 terabyte, is now 450. The Series X digital, which no disk drive, is 600. The Series X with the disk drive, keep in mind the launch console that came out 5 years ago, 650 bucks. I think I paid what, about 500 for that? It's now 650. That's an investment. That's a money investment, guys. And then the premium Series X 2 terabyte is 800. Imagine spending 800 on a video game console that's 5 years old. Yeah, that's where we're at. $800 for an Xbox, a console that launched 5 years ago with a weaker exclusive lineup than ever, and most of its content's already on PC. They're wanting to charge you $800 for it. Make that make sense. Let's take a quick look at this tweet from Wario64 who talks about it. They're getting cooked in the comments. You can see Seven Legend says, imagine raising the price 100 on a 5-year-old device. Insane. Joel says, Nintendo, let's charge 80 for games. Rest of the games industry, what a marvelous idea. And this is where we're going. For some reason, tariffs is still an issue, to me it comes across like greed. Today, I've learned that Xbox is run by a whole bunch of incompetent fools that don't know what they're doing. And this person says, Sony, don't you fucking dare. You know Sony's coming close. Nintendo's already raising prices of the older Switch models. Thankfully, they haven't done a price raise on the price increase on the Switch 2, but it's coming. They're both coming, guys. I don't know what this means, but thanks Nintendo, that seems kind of funny. And yeah, I saw this the other day, and I was just perplexed because I Microsoft, what are you doing, baby? What are you doing? It makes no sense. Now, Microsoft wants you to believe that this is about tariffs. But come on, tariffs didn't stop Sony from holding steady. They're still doing okay. They didn't stop Nintendo from selling $80 games without touching hardware prices, right? This is Microsoft deliberately pushing the cost onto consumers, and it should be the complete opposite. And this is why it should piss you off. Consoles are supposed to lose value over time. Like I said, they're supposed to get cheaper. Remember that? There's always a price drop or two. That's the deal. That's always been that way. Hardware gets cheaper, more people buy in, and publishers make their money back on software. And that's how it's worked for decades. But Microsoft has flipped the script, and they're asking you to pay for more for their consoles, more money for old tech. Imagine paying more for an iPhone 11 today than when it launched. Like, this is an iPhone 11. Imagine I was paying more than the iPhone that just debuted. That's how absurd it is. The Xbox Series X costs more than the Nintendo Switch 2. If you're an Xbox fan, this should be your wake up call. This isn't about tariffs, guys. This is literally Microsoft admitting that they don't care about your like if you own your own hardware anymore. They want you on Game Pass, okay? Preferably on PC. Raising console prices is proof that the box on your TV isn't their priority. They don't care if you're priced out of it because you don't have to have a console in order to play Game Pass. And if you're not an Xbox fan, this still matters because if Microsoft gets away with this, you better bet your mama's sweet ass that Sony and Nintendo will likely feel free to do the same. Higher prices, fewer options, less value across the entire industry. Papa John's. Anyways, all jokes aside, at $800, guys, the Xbox Series X isn't a console anymore. It's a joke. It's flat out a joke. And the only way to stop companies from normalizing this is to stop rewarding them for it. If you keep buying, they're going to keep raising. And I'm an Xbox fan. I love Xbox. This is ridiculous. So ask yourself, and seriously sit there and ask yourself, would you really drop 650 to 800 on an Xbox when you could build a decent PC or grab a PS4 Pro for less? Or has Microsoft just made the Xbox brand irrelevant in its own biggest market? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe because this story is only the beginning. If Microsoft really is preparing for the next generation, the prices we're seeing now should terrify each and every single gamer out there. Big freaking yikes, dog. Big yikes. Whew, imagine paying 800 for a console. I feel sorry for you. If you do that, you're dumb. You're legitimately dumb, and I don't know what to tell you.